A great leader for them, and they've got great fan support. They've got tremendous facilities. They've got an awesome commitment to college football, and they've got tremendous players that are very well coached. So it's an honor for us to have a chance to be here and compete with his teams. When I was at ESPN, I would call him every Friday night and ask about his game the next day, so I could look. I knew what I was talking about. When we played 4 years ago, I called him on Friday night and said, "How about what are you going to do tomorrow?" And he said, "Yeah, that's not funny." So we just had a great relationship for a very, very long time. Excited about playing in the ACC championship game. You know, it's normal for Clemson. It's not normal for us. We haven't played since 2012 in this game as the champion of the Coastal. So it's a tremendous honor for us and a very exciting time for our program. We also haven't won an ACC football championship since 1980, so it's been 42 years. So I asked the guys the other day, how many of you were alive in 1980? And they said, "You were." I said, "Yeah, that's true. I was old at that time." But again, it's been a long time. We've only won 5 ACC football championships in our school history. So this is a historic time for us. We won 9 games. We haven't done that but one time in 2015 since I left in 1997. So we've been a very, very inconsistent football program, and this team has had a fun year. They've played hard. They've played well, and they've been fun to watch. They've given us effort every week. It's interesting that when you look at our season, we got beat by more than a few points by Notre Dame, and we beat Pittsburgh, and we beat Virginia Tech by more than a few points. Every other game's come down to a play, whether it was kick, whether it was a call by an official, whether it was a drop pass, a missed tackle. All of the other games have been 7 points or less. So it's been that kind of year for us. So when people say, "What happened the last 2 weeks?" We didn't make the one play that we had been making the other weeks. And that's just the way this team is. So proud that they're here. We have our hands full, but they also flipped the switch on. We were 0-6 on the road last year, which is as bad as you can get, obviously, and 6-0 on the road this year. So really, really proud that those guys flipped the switch. We've played twice in this stadium in the Queen City since I've been back. First year we beat South Carolina. Last year we lost to them in the bowl game. So a tremendous honor for us to be back in Bank America Stadium because we have so many players from Charlotte and surrounding areas, and it's going to be fun for them to come back home. So proud of Drake May, Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year. He'll be at the banquet tonight. I'll be sitting there with a great smile and a lot of pride for him to get the recognition that he deserves, because we wouldn't be here without him. And then you look at guys like Ced Gray, that's from Charlotte. It's one of the best linebackers in the country, and both of those guys have gotten a lot of awards. And Josh Downs, one of the best receivers in the country. So we got a lot of good players. As I said, we've got our hands full, but really, really proud of this program. We got a Coastal Championship. We've gone to our 4th straight bowl. We've won 9 games with 2 left to play, and a chance to do something that hadn't been done in 42 years. So fun time for us, great challenge. Against one of the best teams in the country, like us, that's coming in not very happy after last weekend, but I think it'll be a great game. Questions, Phil?
Front row.
Max, Steve Reed from the Associated Press. I wonder if you could take us back to that year 2009. What prompted you to call Dabo, invite him to Texas, and what did you guys discuss, and anything you're regretting discussing right now with the matchup looming?
No, Steve. Coach Gene Stallings is a very dear friend of mine. And in fact, Sally and I started a Rise School of Austin because of Coach Stallings and his son Johnny, who had Down syndrome. And we played them in the Gator Bowl when I was at North Carolina. And we just loved Coach Stallings and loved Johnny. And Sally fell in love with Johnny. And when we got to Texas, Coach Stallings called and said, there's a Rise School in Dallas, there's a Rise School in Austin. It's basically a preschool for young kids with special needs. And he said, we've got one in Tuscaloosa, you need one in Austin. So now it's named after Sally, and we have a school in Austin that's very, very good and thriving. And Coach Stallings absolutely loves Dabo. That's his guy. And Woody McCorvey, who basically runs the football program with Dabo, is a dear friend of mine from high school days at Woodson High School in Pensacola, Florida, when I was at Southern Miss. So coaches know each other. So I didn't call Dabo. When he got the job, he called me, and I think he called about 5 other people, and they all said no, and I said, sure, come on. And because of me caring about Coach Stallings, I think Coach Stallings even said, he called and said, will you help him out? And Woody McCorvey called and said, come on, help Dabo out. And we just had a good time, and we run our program so much alike. And it's not that he came to me and asked me what we did, it's what he's developed into. But we share so many things, and a lot of the recruits that come to both places say that the programs are just, we hear the same things when we go to each one. So very, very proud for Dabo and all he's accomplished. And he's kind of at the point now where I was at Texas. You win so much that if you ever lose, people are shocked. And I can't believe it, and the world's coming to an end. You're 10-2. A lot of people like to have Dabo's problems. But he handles it, and he handles it right, and he's just done a great job.
Third row, right in front of me.
Bill Brown, Raleigh News and Observer. Matt, kind of piggybacking off of that, is there anything when you came back to Chapalua 2019 that you instead took from what Dabo was currently doing at Clemson that you wanted to implement in your?
Yes, I took from Dabo that you need to recruit really, really good players, the best ones in the country, and then turn them loose, because he's done that. But no, I've talked to Dabo all the time. I mean, we never lost contact with each other, even when I got out of coaching. Like I said, he was one of the go-to guys with me when I would ask about his thoughts in college football and where we were going with these things, and he was so transparent. He would share anything with me, so and still will. I could honestly call him, talk to him Friday night. We could have a good conversation without crossing the line to get into what's going to happen in the game.
Third row to your left, Coach.
Hi, Coach Brown, Jennifer Lewis, New Stitched Media. And I just have to make everything fair. I asked Coach Swaney what was his silent X factor to win tomorrow. So I ask you the same. Who is your silent X factor for a win tomorrow?
Who did he say?
Mafa.
Yeah, well, he's real good. So I didn't see that. Somebody said, boy, are you worried about Shipley? I said, no, when they take him out, they got a 230-pound back they're going to put in. And you look at what the guy's done. Notre Dame pounded us with a big back, so I know that's got to be part of what Clemson's looking at tomorrow. It's just can we stop the run when we look at it? Who would be our ex guy? I think our guy's not our ex guys. Drake May. Drake has to play well for us to have a chance to win. And probably within that group, then you'd say Antoine Green, because everybody knows Josh Downs, and Antoine's been a great player. He's missed 5 games because of injury, but when he's been out there, he's really helped us.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Fourth row.
Hi, Coach Alex Imbrioni with ADSN. You've coached in Rose Bowls, Cotton Bowl games, national championship games. What is it like to coach now in an ACC championship game?
It's the same. You know, you look at these young people, and they want to win so badly, and I just love college football players. But we've got finals this week. I was talking to Drake on Monday, and he said, yeah, Coach, I got 5 finals this week, or five papers I got to write. So they're amazing how hard they work. Most people are on break or doing their finals, and these guys are practicing in the morning, lifting weights in the afternoon, and still taking their finals. So I really think to have a chance to do something that hadn't been done in 42 years is really, really special. At Texas, we hadn't won a national championship in 35 years, and that was really, really special. But you just want your guys to be successful. You want your guys to be happy. And what I've told them is everybody's picking Clemson to win. Everybody knows Clemson's got the best team in the ACC, and they've had that just about every year. What I want your best. I want you to give me everything you've got for 60 minutes, because you're going to remember this game for the rest of your life. And that's all I can ask you to do.
Third row to our left on the aisle.
Coach Nick Carboni from NBC here in Charlotte. Wondering, when you recruited Drake from here in Charlotte, what about his makeup and mentality led you to believe he could bring a team to a championship game and play on this stage? And did you think then that he could do so this early?
Yeah, Nick, he's got really good genes. his dad was a graduate assistant for me. I didn't get to coach him because I came the year after he got through playing, and Mark led the ACC in passing and then hurt his shoulder, or he would have been an NFL player. And then you look at the brother goes to win a national championship in baseball, brother goes and win a national championship in basketball, other brothers on the Carolina basketball team. They are a family of champions. That's who they are. They're smart, they've got great faith, they compete at a very high level, they're very confident, they're very humble. When I called him and said congratulations on being the player of the year in the ACC, he started the, oh, well, you know, coach, it's about all the other players and all that. And I said, Drake, just say thank you, man. You've played great. I used to do that. We'd win 13 games and somebody'd come up and say, well, and I say, we didn't play as good. And Sally'd say, why don't you just shut up? Don't try to talk them out of it. Just say thank you. So that's what we've got Drake doing. But I'm surprised we're here this fast. I think our best team will be next year because just about everybody's coming back. We'll lose a few key guys. But sitting there in preseason, I mean, we're in a quarterback battle in the spring, and Jacoby Criswell's really good, and we're in a quarterback battle in the fall, and then you have to make a decision who you're going to go with. You can see how they play at practice. You never know how that's going to transition to the game, and he just, you can tell in the first game, he's really special. And I think he'll be a first-round draft choice after next year.
Front row. Hey, Coach. Chris Lee from WRL. Championship games typically feature teams who are been winning on their way to the game, and both teams are coming off of losses. How unique do you think this opportunity is for both teams, and the intensity that it could have for this game in particular, as both teams are trying to bounce back to win a championship?
Yeah, Chris, college football's gotten crazy. You don't ever know who's going to win anymore. And it's interesting. I've always really tried to look at emotion and confidence and energy for college football. A lot of times people lose their rival game right before a championship game because they're so excited about what's next. And we haven't played as well on offense since we clinched the Coastal at Wake Forest. And they're probably looking toward this. And you try, and you talk to them about it, and you tell them, but it's still out there. I remember Steve Spurrier couldn't beat Coach Bowden, and he always said, I'm not as worried about the Florida State games as I am the SEC championship game. And I always thought that was really unique because the people in your state want you to beat your rival. So it gets a little confusing in there, and you got to beat everybody in order to make anybody happy. But I think that Clemson and North Carolina for an ACC championship game would be played at such a high level anyway. I don't think last week's games will have anything to do with tomorrow night.
Second row to your left, Coach.
Ross Martin, Inside Carolina, Coach. You mentioned it a little bit about you're a little farther ahead than you thought. I remember in 2020 you said you were farther ahead than you expected down your last year. Are you kind of on track to where the trajectory is in terms of what you thought 4 years in now?
Yeah, I think, Ross, you'd have to say we're ahead of the game since we hadn't played for one championship in 42 years. I mean, and we've gone to we've gone to an Orange Bowl, which we had never done. So we're doing things that have never been done at Carolina in football. We've got 9 wins for only the second time since 1997. So I think in the second year, with a team that was 5-18 before we got there in the previous 2 years, to go to an Orange Bowl was absolutely unbelievable. Then you lose great players. You don't lose good players for you. And then last year we just didn't coach as well, and we didn't play as well. So we took a step back. But 6 wins has been about what the average has been at Carolina, even though when you're expecting 13, 6 isn't enough. And then you come back this year and people thought we'd be average and struggle, and we're 9-1 at one point. Here we are at 9 wins, and to make everybody happy, you got to win all the games. The second thing to make everybody happy, you got to win in November and December, and we didn't do that at the end of November. So you got some people that are upset with 9 wins and going to play for a championship, and I can't worry about those folks. I got to worry about our team, and I'm proud of them and proud of what they've done. So, but I'm really, really proud. If you'd asked me and Bubba Cunningham 4 years ago, you're going to be playing Clemson with a freshman quarterback in the ACC championship game in 4 years, we would have both taken it.
Front row, right in front of you, Coach.
Terrence Hatcher, Carolina Blitz. Coach, you mentioned recruiting earlier, and Clemson's kind of been the standard of recruiting in the ACC. How big would a win here in the ACC championship game be for recruiting?
Well, it'd be big for recruiting, but more just for those kids in the program. I said, when you're 45 years old, they're going to ask you about your teams, and you're going to talk about this game, and it's going to be a game that people will remember. And this is a game where either you fizzle out, you don't play well, or you become a hero. So that's what I've told them. The championship games, there's only 10 Power Fives playing this weekend. That's it, out of 131. So you are really, really special to still be playing. And you're going to play against the Big Ten championship game. Everybody that watches college football is either going to watch you and Clemson, or they're going to watch Purdue and Michigan. So let's have them watching you, man. Let's have them turn you on, and you remember this for the rest of your life. This should be fun. Not many people get to play in a championship. Half of them don't win it. So only half of those get to win it. So it changed my life when we won a national championship. When we lost a national championship in 2010 to Alabama, all it is then is you didn't win it. Nobody cares if you were second or 50th. They don't care. Our society is about winning. It's about championships, and that's all tomorrow night will be about.
To our left against the wall standing.
Andrea Adelson, ESPN.com. Mac, over the last year, we've heard lots of stories and anecdotes about players being offered NIL deals to transfer other places. How worried or concerned are you that some schools may come after Drake this offseason?
Andrea, one of the real issues we've got in college football, I feel, is people that are tampering with guys on your team and paying them money to leave. And it's an issue that needs to get stopped. And before you could call it tampering, now you've got agents, you've got third parties, you've got high school coaches. So I've just told our players, if somebody's calling you and trying to get you to go, let me know. Let me know who they are. I sat down to lunch with one of our starters the other day, and I said, are you getting calls? He said, oh, Coach, I got 15 places I can go. And he said, I'm not going anywhere. And I said, are they offering you money? He said, yes, 100%. So I don't think Drake will go anywhere because he's a Carolina family. And right now, you look at our recruiting, it's not as high as it has been in the past. It's because every player that we've got that's coming is coming because he wants to come to the University of North Carolina. He wants to come for academics, and he's coming for the right reasons. And sadly enough, we've probably lost 5 great players that aren't going to come, that would have normally come if NIL hadn't been an issue. But that's just the world we live in. There are already 2,000 people, young people in the transfer portal. Next week, there'll probably be 6,000 more because right now grad transfers and FCS guys can get in. And we're getting calls from all over the country. So I told our guys, we'll have some leave on Monday, and here we are playing in a championship game on Saturday. We won't get to see them Sunday. And on Monday, they can enter the portal. So I've told our guys, if you want to leave, just let us know and we'll try to help you. And I've also told them, which is a little different, I wouldn't have thought this 5 years ago, if they want to leave and they're leaving for the right reasons and they're practicing really, really hard to help us win this game, I don't mind if they go in the portal and stay for the bowl game. Because they're leaving because they want more playing time, and if they're doing everything right, I got it. I want you helped us get to this situation. I'd like for you to be able to finish it.
Second row, right in front of you, Coach.
Coach Trevor Gross, CUTigers.com. Drake May has led 6 come from behind game-winning drives, almost has 8. But it almost seems like he's more comfortable in those situations when he's going fast, doesn't have to think, just plays. Is that fair to say? And how does he compare? I know you've coached some great quarterbacks like Vince Young. How rare is that attribute compared to somebody like Vince?
Well, one of the sad things is we've been behind a lot. So we've tested him with that come from behind ability because that seems to be who we are. But he's very confident. He's very even keel. He doesn't get up or down very, very much at all, which is the trait of a great player. And the comeback against Duke, he took a 2-minute drive, a minute 39 drive right before the half and scored, and then with 2:04 left, goes down and scores with 16 seconds to beat Duke. And again, never changed his personality, and he did the same just about every game that we've won. But I think it's just because of his confidence more than anything else. Is he doesn't look at the scoreboard. I have a really bad trait that I'm too hard on me. And if we lose, I beat myself up, and I wonder what we should have done different, and I can't sleep, and it takes me 3 or 4 days to even get back to where I can function. And he really beats himself up too much, because with all the success he's had, he would talk to you about the losses and the 4 passes he's thrown that are interceptions more than he would the great plays that he's made. And I think he's a guy that can win a championship. Whether it's tomorrow night or next year, he's a guy that is confident enough and has enough ability, and he's got the accuracy of Colt McCoy, which was in the 70s when we were playing at Texas, and he's got the confidence of both he and Vince Young. Vince ran better than anybody, so but Drake runs pretty good, and we're just so fortunate to have him.
Front row.
Hey, Mac. Trayvon Miles, ABC 11 in Raleigh. You've been coaching for a long time. Just going back to last year, a lot of your struggles came on the road. This year, you guys are road warriors, and a lot of your losses, or all your losses, came at home. You chalk that up as this a year-to-year thing with different teams, and knowing what you know, is it good that this is a neutral site game?
Well, I think so. We lost the last 2 at home, and we had great crowds, and they were very supportive. But Trayvon, I think the last year, for whatever reason, we kind of missed it. I think we went from 2 wins, and like I said, 5 wins and 18 losses in 2 years before we got there, to winning a bowl game the first year. So that was fun and easy, and it was all new. Second year, we play in the Orange Bowl. Never done that. So you would think the natural progression in a program would be the third year, you got a lot of guys back, even though you lose 4 great players, that you're just going to do that. And I think we missed it. So we went back this year, like we had just gotten there and we started over. Every little thing we started over. We didn't take anything for granted. So the leadership's been better. The attention to detail's been better. Teaching them how much harder it is to win on the road is better. And this game is a road game, but it's a neutral site game, so it's a little bit different than being at Death Valley, which we go to Death Valley next year to play. We play at Clemson next year. So, but I do think that they've been very, very proud that they've been able to win on the road in very fun places to play. We were the biggest game at Duke this year. We're the biggest game other than Clemson at Wake this year. We were the biggest game ever at Appalachian State. So you start looking at those games, and all of them are fun. We had a great crowd at Miami. I think there's 45,000 when we played there. So it's been fun to watch them feel better about themselves, because all the narrative is the negative now in college football or college sports and probably in life. But last year when we won all the games, we didn't get any credit for beating a top 10 Wake team. It was all about the losses you had. And that's just kind of where we are in society.
Last question, second row to our left.
Ross Martin, Inside Carolina. On the transfer portal, you said you can't talk to kids on Sunday and then just Monday it happens. Can you talk us through the conversations you had and then what the process is for transfers Sunday and then whatever happens on Monday for
I'm
y'all?
sorry, we just won't be around.
Okay.
Because after the game, it's going to be so late that some guys will go home with their parents. Some guys live in Charlotte and they'll stay here. Some will spend the night at the hotel and get on the bus and go back to Chapel Hill the next day. So our coaches have some meetings set up on Sunday with some guys. But we will be talking to them. Some will come in on Monday. We've said, don't do this by yourself. We can get you in the transfer portal. Compliance is going to know when you go in anyway. So you can't slip by and not tell anybody. So just tell people. And our coaches, this game is really important to us. So our coaches have been hesitant to say, hey, Ross, you leaving, man? I know you got to play Saturday night, but are you out of here? Are you going to play or are you going to stay? So we'll have some guys playing tomorrow night that'll probably be leaving on Monday. And that discussion will either come Sunday or Monday morning. And then the other thing that's tough, Ross, you can go out recruiting tonight, basically for the first time today. So our coaches will be recruiting Sunday. They'll be recruiting Monday. I'm going out Monday afternoon. So trying to see all these guys trying to recruit the guys that are going into the portal on Monday, or the guys that are already in from FCS and grad transfers this week, and trying to get on the road next week and see your commitments, or some guys that are still out there that you may want to offer. It's a handful now. It's more than any college coaches have ever had to deal with before.
Okay, thank you, Coach. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you all. We'll see you tomorrow night.